You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
I hope you're ready. This is going to be exciting.
And the ARCA restart's up to go. Green flag is out and we're underway.
Just a few laps into this. Oh, the 37's getting loose. Oh, and he saves it. Oh, they're going 3 wide.
We've got a 5-way fight for the win of this race coming to 4 laps to go. He's gonna win it here in spectacular fashion.
From Phoenix Raceway, the Glove Station ARCA series here on Goat Locker Racing is ready to get it on for a duel in the desert tonight under the lights right here at Phoenix. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast Booth. I'm Dave Regal, and my partner alongside me tonight in the booth is the one, the only, the great one, Jordan Brockel, who occupies the seat to my right and just a few miles south. We want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight as we get ready to rock and roll. You're watching the Glove Station ARCA series live on Sim Racing Media. And Jordan, I'm telling you right now, as we get ready to roll tonight, we've got a lot of information to cover. And, you know, a lot of times we talk about, oh, there's this going on, there's that going on. But finally, everybody's been waiting for it, and here it is, the point standings here in the ARCA series. I mean, what a night we finally had to talk about these things.
I'm still trying to recover from that glorious introduction. I'm blushing a little bit over here, but yeah, certainly we finally get to put some of these cars into position and know where they're standing with these points, and it's interesting. I mean, of course, you see Morris Jr. and David Calvert up at the top, our first multi-win drivers this season, and then everyone falls in line from there. Quite as you'd expect, and it's always good to have those points because it really tells you how good you're doing.
Yeah, it's definitely a barometer of how your season's going. And I mean, the unique thing about this ARCA series here in the Goat Locker Racing family, of course, is the fact that we do have two divisions. Now, everybody knows here that the AM division, on our scoring pylon on the left-hand side of your screen when we're racing, the AM drivers are all highlighted in red. Of course, the pro drivers are not highlighted at all. However, here we get to see a really good mix of both sets of drivers. We're first going to take a look here at Chris Morris Jr. Now, he's got a pair of wins, and that second win that he had there, that's his back-to-back win as he picked up the W last week for our pro division. And then, of course, we also had Calvert getting his second AM division win of the season. So both of them last week able to notch that off there while we were at Charlotte. So it was a really interesting week last week as, both of our points leaders have 2 wins on the season, and they both went back-to-back the last 2 weeks. Now we start to look, to a special place like this here at Phoenix, and, Phoenix has its own, trials and tribulations that we're going to experience tonight. But first, let's take a look here at our pro division winner last week. That was, of course, Morse Jr. And, here's the thing. Chris came out there last week and just ran himself what, at least in my opinion, was a pretty good clinic. And, of course, Jonah Colbert, who, finished second on the podium. That's not related to Calvert, who, of course, won the AM division. But, all things considered, I think Chris Morse is going to be on a tear, and I look forward to seeing what he does with this dog leg and whether or not he can cut that short tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he's like you said, he's been on a tear, and he's been wheeling this thing like crazy. And I look for him to be up front and fighting for that top position again. I mean, you have his what I like to say is his nemesis of Eddie Smith. Those two battled out just a couple of weeks ago at Homestead, Miami. They were back and forth, and then we saw Gardner get up there and take the lead, and unfortunately ran out of fuel. But I look for those three to be the top guys right off the bat here tonight. Yeah, I mean, I was at the tail end of the Gen 4, so like these specific cars are near and dear to my heart. The flames on the 24 machine of Jeff Gordon is what I fell in love with and how I became a Gordon fan. but I remember going to Dover, and these were the first cars I got to see. So these are near and dear to my heart. So I love watching these guys, and like you said, I love how this is. You have the AM division and the Pro division. You have two winners, and I'm looking for possibly Calvert being the guy that's going to be able to pop up there and win a race. In the number one position. And I hope we see that this year or this season where, an AM driver pulls off a true win.
Oh, I think it's absolutely going to happen. I don't know where it's going to be or when. And, we're only, 3 weeks into the season, this being week 4. So, I know that there's a couple of names that stick in my head that I'm thinking to myself, could he be the one? Could they be the one? But, right now we've got to focus on the task at hand, and that's to get across the start-finish line first when the checkered flag waves here at Phoenix Raceway. 74 degrees in the stands tonight. As the lights are on, that makes it 75 degrees around this 1 mile oval here in the desert, and 75 degrees on that asphalt means that there is going to be more grip than some fresh Velcro there from our good friends over at 3M. And, honestly, I think that these guys have the skill and the discipline that it takes to boogie around this place. Of course, we always talk about the dog leg here. It's right on the right-hand side of your screen. When these drivers are coming out of turn 4 and they cross the start-finish line, many of them are going to hit that start-finish line and be aimed right toward the end of the pit wall. And this pit road is among the longest in NASCAR, if it's not the longest. Of course, you enter coming into turn, basically right between turn 1 and 2, at the exit of turn 2. You can see it right there in the top middle of your screen. And the exit of pit road isn't until you're literally across the start-finish line. It is, so if you've got to make a green flag pit stop, good flippin' luck.
Oh yeah, it's more horrendous in my opinion than having the two pit roads on Bristol. And
Yeah.
Bristol is a long pit road, and you go down a couple of laps, but this one just seems a little bit more tricky than that, more straightforward Bristol.
Yeah, I mean, you can lose 2 and then some, 2 and more laps here at a place like this as we're waiting for our qualifying to complete here. And it looks like so far sitting atop the pile going to be Jonah Colbert with about 6 seconds left. So we're going to give him that pole award of the evening. And, of course, our pole award brought to you by Jam Printing and Promotions. And we want to thank them for all of their support. Of course, here we are trying to pull up that ad read. Never fails that I leave one thing not on the desktop. But we want to thank our friends over at Jam Printing and Promotions out of Plainfield, Indiana. They're local and veteran certified. And when they do well, they can do more good in the community. Since forming in 2013, Jam has contributed printing and promotional sponsorships to more than 60 local nonprofits with a primary focus on organizations that assist veterans, women, and children. They have been with Goat Locker Racing since the very beginning, and they provide GLR with all promotional items, including shirts, hats, decals, dog tags, you name it. Jam is GLR's go-to promotional company, and they sponsored the Pole Award, which, of course, we got to send out there last night and now tonight. And Jonah Colbert going to be our pole sitter as we get ready to drop down and prepare for the green flag this evening. As waiting for him to slide into the car as we pull up that grid and that beautiful bean footage. Jonah Colbert going to be our pole sitter. He'll be sitting alongside of Jake Ellingson. Daniel Cunningham going to sit alongside of Chris Morrison, row number 2, while row 3 is going to feature Timothy Wilmus and Eddie Smith. Row 4 is Mark Cofield and Devin Smith, while starting back here in row number 5 and rounding out your starting top 10, going to be Casey Jones and Andy Kurtz. Of course, Kurtz here in the number 48, looking great tonight, as always. I love that red and black. I don't know why it's that color combination that I love, but man, it is special. Michael McCarthy and Jamie Libke going to be in row number 6 while we look a little bit behind them, and Jeremiah Holt and Brandon Wallace going to be in row number 7. Row 8 going to feature Andrew Carnes and Alan Smith, while Matt Knights and Chris Sawyer going to be in row number 8. Starting in 18th. Starting in 19th and rounding out your top 20, going to be Sean Pope McCarthy and Josh Unger, while Chuck Feltz and Ricky Sisk Jr. holding things down in row number 11. Row 12 is John Huchin and Brett Bieber. Of course, brother of Travis Bieber. We'll see if he's going to make a start tonight. While there we go. Cliff Adams, there he is going to be to the inside of row 13, while row 14 is going to feature David Calvert and Brian Froninger. And Doug Ellingson going to be starting shotgun on the field this evening. So 29 drivers scheduled to take the green flag as we get set to rock and roll here tonight. We want to thank everybody for tuning in as the iRacing.com pace car is going to lead us around. But, you know, the other thing with this place is that you have a long time to basically be left to your own devices as the pace car has to drop down onto the entrance of pit road. And you can see the drivers are out here managing themselves as we come into turn 4. And that means, folks, the only thing that's left to do is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab your popcorn, your honey buns, and settle in. Race fans, it's show time! Green flag in the air, and off we go in the desert.
And you saw right there off the start, you saw 5, 6 wide all the way down to that apron. And see, we've already got a caution out on the racetrack. And this is kind of what happened last night, too. You know, cold tire bug bit some people last night. Looks like possibly, unless there was a little bit of contact, I haven't seen anything pop up yet, but unless there was some contact beforehand, might be a little bit of a cold tire bug here again.
We're going to see what happened here. We were back toward Casey Jones when this all broke loose. And there they were, just flying. I mean, look, it looks, wow, it was 3 wide coming into turn 1. Oh. The 3 machine of Michael McCarthy just punted the 34 of Casey Jones. Oh! And the 808 finished the job. Brett Bieber out of Ole, Pennsylvania, just nailed the casket shut, that's for sure.
Yeah,
My goodness.
And it just looks like, you know, that looks like just the normal troubles of having that dog leg there. And, you know, not really being fully aware of how close somebody is when you try to blend back onto the track.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting term, too. I mean, I hear a lot of spotters using that when they're, you know, in real life. As we watch them come down here into turn 1, we can see this developing as the whole race field was just taken by surprise, and there it is. Oy.
Holy. Jones going for the old Ricky Bobby slide there.
My goodness, we're going to see if we can find this from Casey Jones one more time. I hate to keep beating this dead horse, and I'm sure that he would much prefer that we forget about it, that's for sure. But let's go to the gyro cam here inside of Casey Jones' car and take a look and see what it was from this perspective. There it is.
Oh. Yeah, that doesn't look fun at all.
No, I would scarcely say not at all. As now he's going to sit down on pit road. Jonah Colbert's still going to be our race leader as the iRacing.com pace car comes across pit road.
And you know, that's really going to help out 2 drivers here tonight. John Houchin and Doug Ellingson both had to start from the pits for this race here, so that's going to help them out. They get to, you know, bunch back up to the field, and they're not kind of way off in the distance here.
Yes, sir. As we take a look here at our YouTube.com live chat, we want to welcome everybody in. We want to thank you for tuning in and welcome us into your homes, onto your phones, wherever you may be and however you may be listening. Warren Clayton, Jamie Libke, Greg Cross, they're all checking in here. Ray Ellingson saying hey, and Sophie Markakis saying good luck tonight, everyone. TJ saying let's go Chuck Feltz, Semper Fi. Yes, sir. As T Jones 95 says, yeah, Chuck. Jamie Libke putting his 2 cents in after that caution, saying, well, that sucked. As we get back underway, off we go. Here at Phoenix once again, the green flag is in the air, and everybody, with the exception of the 34, getting a good start here. Jonah Colbert brings us down into turn 1. This almost looks a little familiar as we are under caution while they're coming through again. And this time Chris Sawyer may have been involved. Let's take a peek here and see what happened with Chris. As we search for where this may have come from. Still waiting to get a full green flag lap in. And here it is.
Oh, same.
Oh, almost the same
98.
thing.
The 98 is an innocent bystander there, and I mean it's just, you know, 2 cars, 1 spot, doesn't work.
Let's take a look at this from the 98's perspective. Cliff Adams out of Goldsboro, North Carolina, trailing just behind the 16 at the time of the wreck. He sees it happen to the inside, and he just had no place to go. I mean,
it kind of looks like the 27 machine there wasn't expecting him to kind of check up as soon as he did, and you know that with that is the recipe of, you know, kind of being run over, and it's or maybe they got the wrong car there. I'm trying to look at the numbers.
I was gonna say, I don't know if the 27 was involved there. Let's take a
No,
peek.
it was not. It was the black and red, I believe 79. Yeah, right there on the bottom there. So, got a little bit of mix-up of the numbers. I saw 7. Maybe I'm a little dyslexic here, apparently.
I mean, that's one way I would describe you.
But, no, you know, he kind of had a little bit of a checkup sooner there than maybe he had expected. And, you know, he drove in a little further than the other car was, you know, giving him room for. Jonah Colbert not really able to kind of generate anything fully here, but certainly able to kind of gap these guys, you know, on the restarts as everyone else, you know, kind of on the outside line kind of stays on track. You know, Christopher Morris has opted to stay on the outside, not taking the dog leg. We're going to rack them up again, 2x2 here. That pace car is going to get ready to make that hard left turn here. That pace car is going to set these guys free. Jonah Colbert in control once again. Daniel Cunningham on the outside here. It's such a long wait here, Dave. As
Yeah.
you know, I think they got to go almost a full backstretch just to get to the start-finish line.
I'd say I could be skin and bones by the time we get back to the green flag, but that's a lot of laps. 8 laps in the books. Let's see if we can get a green one in the books now. As 6 of our 8 laps have been under caution. Off we go. Jonah Colbert takes the green flag. It's deja vu all over again as Colbert leads us down the front stretch through the dogleg and blends back up in nicely in front of Daniel Cunningham as they come here through turns 1 and 2. Did we make it through this time? Yes, we did. As Colbert's going to roll out of turn 2, down the back chute. We stay green. Lap number 9 here now. And side by side, watch the 86 and the 24. The 86 giving plenty of room here to the 24 of Devin Smith. And, oh, wow. I'll tell you what, these cars without that independent suspension, like the Cup cars do, that is a violent transition between the racing surface and the dogleg apron.
Yeah, I mean it's a violent transition. You know, they usually would, you know, with the, like you said, the independent rear suspension, it doesn't kind of slam down as the 86 grabbed the wall a little bit there. He's been opting to stay on the track, but you know, those guys, they kind of bottom out going down to that apron, and then they kind of, when they come back up on the track, it's almost like they get a little bit of a hop, so they're going to have to watch that wheel input as they blend back onto the track and try not to blend too soon as the 86 gets a little out of sorts there.
Side-by-side action here coming down the backstretch. Let's take a look at them. A 4-car battle here. The 79 of Josh Lockenwitz here now, watching the 27 of Jake Ellingson slide just below him. We were just talking about that transition as Ellingson now slides in front of the 19. That's Andrew Carnes. Now they're going to battle it out here for 12th position. And Josh here in the 79, he's not going to be giving any kind of edge right now, if he can, to Ellingson as we battle it out here. A bunch of pro drivers going at it, but right now, taking a look here at this battle for 7th position, Timothy Wilmus and Devin Smith, the 86 and the 24, still hot and heavy as the 86 of Wilmus. That pro driver has to cede away 7th position to the AM driver, to Devin Smith here in the 24. So I'll tell you what, that's where you can start to see a lot of these guys realize that they're developing their craft. They're getting themselves around this racetrack with a lot more ease than they were before as they have more experience. And what Devin Smith has been doing here is he's crawling up. He qualified in 8th. He's running in 7th right now, and he had to take that 7th position away from a pro driver. So that's going to be really good for him as we continue on in the season.
Yeah, I mean, here, like you said, as we get a little deeper in, we see some of these AM drivers start to separate themselves from the others. Cofield, Smith, Holt, being some of the top names here that you see, doing so, and I think that's only going to continue to grow. Calvert, he's got 2 wins already this season in the AM division, so those guys I look to, continue to hone their craft in this car, get more comfortable in this car, and more comfortable racing around pros. Because certainly as an AM driver, I don't know about you, but as an AM driver, I would be very, very cautious around pro drivers just because, they're in a completely different division than me. I don't want to screw their race. They're certainly not going to screw my race. So, you race with a little bit more cautiousness. But once you start to get really comfortable, you're going to start throwing a little bit more haymakers at some of these pro drivers to say, hey, I'm coming for the pro division.
Yeah, a lot of these guys, that yellow windshield and spoiler, that doesn't mean they're AMs. That means they're coming for you. That's for sure. They just want to get those drivers up in front of them, a heads up. Of course, we want to thank our good friends at Glove Station. Here at Glove Station, they're committed to providing quality gloves and protective gear for a wide range of your daily activities and jobs, from tinkering on home DIYs to working in industrial environments and everything in between. They've got you covered. With endless amounts of safety products on the market, they want to make it effortless for you to find the right protection for your needs. And of course, they are the proud sponsor of the Monday Night ARCA series right here on Sim Racing Media under the Goat Locker Racing umbrella. And of course, Goat Locker Racing, an incredible organization. To be quite frank, it's not, Goat Locker Racing per se is not an iRacing league. What it really is it's a community. With a bunch of racing leagues involved. But, of course, here we are taking a quick sneak peek at one of our drivers here. Give us a wave if you can hear us watching the broadcast. I don't think you can. He's going to set the headphones on. But, we see these drivers. Goat Locker is a 501c3 that helps out, of course, first and foremost, veterans and active duty personnel, first responders. And, they have given out more than anybody else that I've ever heard of in the iRacing.com servers. Goat Locker is out there to help guys, find a community, find a place. Because, in the military, in certain occupations in this world, when you return to civilian life, it's not easy to find your place in the world again. And to me, I think Goat Locker just does a fabulous job of giving these guys a community, giving them a place to be. Here it is Monday night, rather than sit at home, petting the cat and sitting alone in the dark, you've got a race to go run, and they're able to help you get some of that equipment. And, of course, we can see this fella here, as now we've got a side-by-side. I don't know who just popped in, but what's up, buddy? Give us a wave there. As, obviously, he just figured out that we were doing the, I don't know who that is logging in, but here he is. And, unfortunately, the software doesn't give us names. Makes it darn near impossible. Hey, there we go. There's our wave. But, I think Goat Locker just does an incredible job of giving people a place to be. A place to be a part of, a place to be involved with. And believe you me, as somebody who understands that so intimately, I just think the Goat Lockers are incredible. So we thank them, and of course we thank our friends at Glove Station as we work here on lap number 23 of 100, just about a quarter of the way through this race. They suddenly started ripping off a great green flag run here as we're going to go on board with Jeremiah Holt. Holt here just behind the 99 of Brandon Wallace. Now Holt, you know, another AM driver chasing down Wallace. Listen, Jordan. Oh, and there he's got the 79 of Josh Lokovitz just getting around him now. But, I mean, there is a lot of competition here between the pro and AM drivers.
Oh, 100%. And you know, Lokovitz is one of those guys that at the start of this thing had to start from the tail of the field from a penalty. So he's trying to find his way through all of this, up 13 positions from where he started back in 26th. So, I mean, he's making moves here. And then, like you said, oh, side-by-side, Calvert and Andrew Carnes leaning on each other there to get through that corner. And, oh, man, when they blend back onto this track, I get a little anxious because it's like they look a lot closer from certain camera angles than they actually are.
Oh, yeah. You know, sometimes I think while the camera is rotating above the racetrack, you know, we should almost always be watching from the blimp because it almost gives you, although that it's the furthest away physically, it gives you the best perspective for space on the racetrack. As we take a look here at the 98, that's Cliff Adams here, and Clifford hanging on here for dear life as he's working just behind last week's AM winner, David Calvert, here in the 16 USMC machine. And, you know, one of the things that I always find fascinating with these guys is how quick they can make the, you know, adjustments to these cars. I mean, first of all, I'm an awful sim racer. It's why I sit here in the broadcast booth and why I'm not on the racetrack. We've discussed this hundreds of times between ourselves. And, you know, these guys are in fixed setups. And what that means at home, folks, is that everybody's car chassis is set up exactly the same. It's twisted the exact same. It is the exact same. And, you know, so that means that this is all about driver skill. If you're able to wear that person out in front of you and you know, maybe they've got a little bit of a heavier foot on entry than you do, so they're going to burn that right front off, and you're a little bit lighter footed, and you're able to keep that, you know, underneath you, whatever you need to do to get around the racetrack. These drivers, after this long of a run at 28 laps, you know, are still making the proper adjustments. And there's no stage racing. At this point, we're looking at green flag pit stops probably in the next, I don't know, 6 laps or so. I would say our pit window is probably about 35 laps.
Yeah, well, certainly, as it looks like the 44 got a little bit of a nudge there, a little scary there. But to touch on that point about fixed setups, I think fixed setups are, in my opinion, a little bit tougher to run simply because, you know, you have to drive the car the way the car wants to be driven, not how you want to drive the car. You know, an open setup, you can, you know, fine tune it to how you prefer to drive, as to where a fixed setup, you can't change very much, if not anything. As the battle for the lead, a lap car gets in the way there, certainly a lot closer for comfort as it's a 3-horse race up front. Probably throw a blanket over the 3 of these guys. Chris Morris assumes the lead here, and you know, he's looking for 3. You know, he's looking for 3 wins on the season, and he's going to be a tough one to battle here. 3 in a row at that too. We got caution on the racetrack here.
So just as we were approaching that pit window,
looks like
I got caution on the racetrack, and let's see who might have been involved. This may have been Brian Frogger.
I saw, and I got an actual pronunciation of it. It's Frauheiger.
I'm sorry, repeat yourself?
His name is Frauheiger. He put a and that lap car gets right in the line of Daniel Cunningham.
Who in the world was that? The
Daniel
91.
Cunningham. Yeah. He was flying.
Flying? He just had that thing cranked up to ludicrous speed.
Yeah, and I mean,
let's go here from Cunningham's perspective.
I mean, the 03 machine seemed to maybe be a little off the
Oh, he
pace
drifted
here.
right in front of Cunningham. He
up.
actually got in front of Cunningham.
Yeah. It seems like Frauheiger was off pace a little. I'm not sure if he had a little bit of something going on there or what, but certainly a little off the pace, and he gets ran into there.
Race control charging Brian Frauheiger with this caution, as of course the general rule is that when you're on the straightaway that you need to be holding your line, and he was absolutely not holding his line as he drifted aimlessly up in front of the 91. So a little bit of Southern Pennsylvania artificial meat in the grill there, as we're going to step aside and pay some bills here on Sim Racing Media. We want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. I'm Dave Regal, he's Jordan Brockell, and this is Goat Locker Racing.
A thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. InVets can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. InVets can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about InVets, visit us at invets.org today.
Welcome back to Phoenix Raceway. As we went away during caution, we're coming back during caution, but a different caution. As sometimes we hear that those yellow flags breed more yellow flags. They breed like people in the hills of Pennsylvania up in coal country. Watch Cliff Adams here in the 98 machine. This is going to develop right here with just him. He's going to self-spin. And on those cold tires, the rear end of that car just stepped around. Fortunately, he nudged himself into the wall, into that safer barrier on the inside. So he may be okay, but nobody else involved in this wreck. So that's a blessing in and of itself. Speaking of a blessing, we want to thank our friends over at Save 22. And at Save 22, it's a 501c3 organization dedicated to preventing suicide among veterans, active duty personnel, and first responders. We support those who have served our nation and communities by listening to their stories and providing unwavering support, ensuring they are never alone or forgotten. Our unwavering mission extends to 4 critical pillars: shield, assist, volunteer, and educate. And of course, they sponsor Goat Talk Live, and Goat Talk Live is available on Above the Yellow Line. In 2021, Above the Yellow Line with Taylor Kitchen began as a podcast fueled by a passion for motorsports and a desire to build community. What started as a simple idea has grown into something far beyond what she could have imagined. Through this journey, Taylor and her team have not only connected with passionate motorsports fans, but also formed connections with several inspiring content creators united by their love for the sport. That passion and collaboration led to the creation of ATYL Media, a dynamic team of motorsports content creators dedicated to producing motorsports content that's fresh, informative, and fun. At ATYL Media, we cover everything you love about motorsports, from F1 and IndyCar to NASCAR, short tracks, and even virtual racing. We celebrate the sport's rich history, explore its exciting future, and enjoy every moment in between. This is Motorsports Media your way. And of course, the platform where you can get Goat Talk Live is here at Above the Yellow Line, or ATYL Media, as the iRacing.com pace car peels on down pit road. Can you tell that I do that enough on the radio? I do a good read.
Certainly. Hey, you do such a fantastic
I
job
just
at
ticked
reading.
that one off while I was watching the cars on the left. I just split my eyes. Usually it's like like my kid has a lazy eye. I think I might have given it to him.
You certainly have a good voice for reading ads. I'd sound like the guy from Billy Madison, and you'd be yelling at me silently as we get ready to go back green into that restart zone. They're going to fire off once again. Jonah Colbert going to fly away here, and Andy Kurt's going to be under fire by Eddie Smith right as we start this thing. Everybody in that top three going to be diving underneath that line there.
And as we get back underway, we take a look here from Daniel Cunningham's perspective out the nose here. He's going to have a good view of this battle of Eddie Smith and Andy Kurtz in front of him. As we're here on Monday night in the Tony Trapassa Memorial Broadcast booth, you've got yourself an earful of Dave Regal and Jordan Brockel live on Sim Racing Media. We thank all of you for tuning in and making us a part of your night. Of course, we do sit in the Tony Trapassa Memorial Broadcast booth, a man that absolutely touched every heart of every. I almost said touched everybody he was around, and
Don't do that.
I have to be honest. I love Tony to death, and yeah, I mean,
honestly, he's probably rolling right now. He's absolutely laughing.
Not rolling,
you know
dust.
what off. Well,
he would get it. He would absolutely get it. I miss him so much. Oh, God. As we work here on lap number 40 of 100, I'm going to let you recover. While we take a look at this battle, watch Brandon Wallace here. Now, he's suddenly falling like a rock. He opened the door here for Jeremiah Holt to get to the upside. And now Holt slows down just in front of the 16 of David Calvert. Right now, our highest running AM driver is, of course, Mark Cofield.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Nope, it's fine. Mark Cofield up there in the 97 machine.
79 in the wall there.
Wee.
That was the kind of thing I pulled cut you off on. Bieber kind of drifted up right into the lane, or was that Alan Smith possibly? The Sprite cars. Oh, who was that in the wall? Was that Cofield? I think that was Mark Cofield up in the wall backwards.
We're going to get a chance to take a look at it since we've gone under caution again for the 5th time tonight.
A lot happened in a short period of time there that I started stuttering.
The worst part is I was just talking about Mark Cofield being the highest running AM driver, and here he goes. Watch him in the 97 machine, looks to the inside of the 3 of Michael McCarthy, gives a nudge, and loosens himself up, and just does back that car into the outside retaining wall.
Back that thing up. Sorry.
That's not the way that, I don't think that was the intention of that particular lyric. I am not a club-going person, as it were.
Well, I'm not either. I just know good music. But it looks like Michael McCarthy just kind of got there right in front of him and, checked him up a bit. And, these cars with the brake bias, if you have it set to a point that you like when, you can brake normally, it's fine. But when you have to get on those brakes rather quickly like he had to there, kind of just brings the rear end around. And especially with a little bit of front end possible contact there, it throws the rear end of these cars around kind of like a dreidel.
Did you say kind of like a dreidel?
Yeah.
Well, for all you folks that are sitting at home tonight and didn't have the dreidel reference on your bingo card, you are more than welcome to tune in tonight. I didn't think we were going to get that one. Ever.
Just chalk this up as also a time that I slightly broke Dave Regal.
When you make me stop, that's when we know that we're close. Now, checking in here at Penguin's game, Penguin says, can you spectate my dad real quick? Penguin's game, gonna need to know which one your dad is, if he's the top or bottom here on our graphic. Devin leading the AM drivers. Yeah, all of a sudden, Devin Smith becomes our lead AM driver.
Looks like here it says go David Calvert for Penguins game. So I'm going to say he's the number 16 machine.
Right, but I don't know. I just put our in-car cams up, and I don't know which one of these fellas David Calvert is. So I would say, will the real David Calvert please stand up? But if he does, he's going to wreck the car. And I don't want to be that guy. I love these cameras. I do. They're going to break me more than you will with the dreidel thing. Let's keep them up there as we get ready to go back green flag racing. They say pull those belts tight, but get yourself adjusted in that office chair. Here we go. Jonah Colbert taking off. And as he passes that start-finish line by the cactus, all of a sudden he's almost immediately under assault from Andy Kurtz. As Andy Kurtz looks to the inside, they're going to go side by side and drag race. I almost said draft, but drag race down the backstretch. The 48 of Kurtz trying to hold on. Oh my.
And aside from Morris, this is the most that he's been under fire here, through this entire race. And Morris is back in about 15th position right now. I want to say he came down this last time around. Trying to find his name keeps moving. He moves up the leaderboard so fast it's hard to find him sometimes. But no, he last pitted 31 with everybody else. And a little bit of trouble through pit road there, but 48. Oh, I thought he was loose, but it looked like he just made a hard left turn, harder than the pace car to go down to that apron.
He wanted to see how the pace car was handling that as they go side by side yet again. Watch Kurtz. He's now going to be under assault from the tide ride of Eddie Smith. 8 pro drivers battling it out for the lead. And your first AM driver is Devin Smith driving the 24. He runs in 9th position. As we take a look here.
Eddie making it work on that high line.
There are battles all over the racetrack, too. Let's take a look here at Cliff Adams as we've got a couple of AM drivers going at it. Watch the 98 of Cliff Adams just underneath Pegleg Feltz here in the 75. As Pegleg holds his own and basically Ricky Sisk Jr. and the 21 of Chris Sawyer are looking from behind, just waiting for someone to make a mistake. There's a whole lot of yellow spoilers back here in the latter half of the field. And my goodness, you can really see, I mean, don't get me wrong, you're going to get those guys like Smith, you're going to get a couple of really strong drivers that run in that top 10, top 15, but the rest of this field really is showing its color. And I'll tell you what, some of these intervals on my timing and scoring are more red in the AM section than they are in the pro section. As we take a look, Chris Morris Jr. now battling it out with Josh Lokovitz here for 9th position as they are going to go side by side. Watch the 81 of Morse to the inside in the Taco Bell ride.
I could go for some Taco Bell right about now. Every time I see his car, I'm like, I know I shouldn't, but I want to.
Did you know Taco Bell was founded by a guy named Glenn Bell?
What?
Yeah, Taco Bell.
So,
the finest in fast food Tex-Mex was founded by a guy named Glenn.
But the thing is like, I just thought Taco Bell was just a marketing thing, but here it's just the dude's last name.
Yep. You're welcome.
Might as well just be called Tacos by Bell.
Yeah, but see, then he took the name. You know what? I'm not going to get into it. The point is that everybody who loves Taco Bell is out there eating tacos prepared by a guy named Glenn. Like, I want me, like, tacos made by a guy named Speedy. Perhaps, like, with a big sombrero. Rusty Rafferty says that finest is a stretch. Oh, Rusty, we know that it's more than a stretch.
Hey, believe it or not, though.
How about the finest?
I've read that.
How about the
I've read that
hold
Taco
on.
Bell is.
I got this one. rather than Taco Bell being the finest of Tex-Mex food, how about the finest in colon cleansing culinary arts?
But I also read that based on a study, it's the healthiest of the fast foods, which still does not sound like
That's
a correct
so wrong.
statement, but it very much is.
That's so wrong. How comes if it's the health? Well, I mean, I guess if you need an enema. Devin Smith in the 24, still leading are AM drivers, and literally he is the beginning of the AM driver ranks tonight. You know, right now running back in 22nd is Casey Jones, our lowest running pro driver, as well as Frauheiger, who's 17 laps down. But Frauheiger still turning laps, even though he is that. Whoa! What was that? Somebody just bit some wall there.
There's a whole lot of
Kurtz, your new
something.
race leader, though, Jonah Colbert, for the first time in what seems like a long time, passed by somebody for the lead as Andy Kurtz has opened up nearly a 4/10 of a second lead over Colbert. And it goes Kurtz, Colbert, Smith, Ellingson, Cunningham, your top 5. Brett Bieber has the 808 Sprite machine running in 6th position right now. We want to thank everybody for tuning in over here in the YouTube.com live chat. We want to thank everybody for hanging out with us tonight. You know, now that we've got some of the problems that we had over the last few weeks, you know, basically under control now, I feel like we can really relax and be ourselves here at the microphones. And this is what you folks, this is what you asked for, entertainment.
Entertainment. I was trying to think of how to say
Personally, I
entertainment
like
in a
to
jazzy
flirt with
way.
the idea of losing an FCC license.
No, I'm good. I don't get in trouble.
I'm the only one in this company that has to follow the FCC rules.
Aha.
Jeremiah Holt here in the 73, still trying to chase down David Calvert, as Calvert in the 16 holds him off now by just about 3/10 of a second. These drivers aren't done yet. They're still not ready to give up any room, as Jonah Colbert is starting to be, you know, under assault now from Jake Ellingson, as Ellingson's really been harassing him here on the low side. They suddenly go side by side, getting ready to come down the back chute, and as they do, it looks like Colbert going to have the edge here for the time being. Ellingson gets to the low side. He shoots in there. He's going to get a great run coming out of 4 back to the Cactus. He's going to take that dog leg to put some distance between himself and the 31, but gets himself way down there. Uh-oh.
Really throwing it in. He's going to slide.
Wow, baby, what a pass it was.
Slide job.
Slide job.
Where's Dale Jr.? Slide job.
David Calvert here with getting a little bit of a shout out here from the kid at home, Penguins game, watching them.
You know, I'm sitting here yelling, and I'm trying to think, you know, how many times, you know, my dad works late nights. Like, my dad will be up at 2:30 in the morning to drive track trailer. How many times I've pissed him off from yelling? He's supposed to be asleep right now, and I mean, I'm hoping he is.
Happens.
But I do be yelling.
It's fine. What's he going to do now?
Possibly. I listen still when I want to.
That's the one. It's the one you want to. Timothy Wilm is here in the 86 trying to battle it out with the 99 of Brandon Wallace. Brandon Wallace here holding on to that top 10 position. Wilmus running in 11th. As we work here on lap number 63, just about 2/3 of the way through this piece. We want to thank everybody for hanging out. And it sounded like the 68 was pitting. But I don't see the 68 on here, so I don't know who's pitting. I guess we got to wait for it to turn red. As we look up here, Andy Kurtz has been holding a pretty steady gap over the 87 of Eddie Smith. Jonah Colbert slid all the way back to 4th position. That's the deepest that Colbert's been all night long.
Yeah, and it's going to take a kind of a miracle to kind of move up through here as everyone gets more and more spaced out.
Spaced out my rear. Here comes David Calvert. We were just talking about him a moment ago. There he is in the 16, looking to the inside now of the 24 of Devin Smith. Devin Smith starting to slide back a little bit on time, but the 16 trying to pull just alongside of him. The 24 gets loose coming through the dog leg. The 16 same way, and they still maintain about 3/10 of a distance between them. But for a moment, they were nearly side by side as Andy Kurtz leads the way here on lap number 65. It was the 86 of Timothy Wilms that came down. The 58 of Doug Ellingson was the one that I heard on race radio.
Caution on the racetrack.
And caution number 6 on lap 66 comes out. And this one may have involved Brian Frauheiger, who was off pace the last I saw. Here's the 03 losing speed. And I think, yep. And the engine just said, I'm good. But you know what, Jordan, you got to give it to some of these guys who hold on the way that they do.
Oh, 110%. I mean, these things are not stable. And I mean, you know, contrary to popular belief, when you watch these, I mean, you're like, oh, like these guys they got it under control. They know what they're doing. Meanwhile, you know, some of these guys will be white knuckling the steering wheel and hanging on for dear life, just wheeling it. And I mean, you can even see through the windshield sometimes that little dude in there. That dude mimics the movement that the drivers in the sims are actually making. You'll see that wheel go left, right, up, down, in a circle. The only thing it won't do is come off, thankfully.
True story. You don't want to wind up like Dale Jr. did a couple of years ago when the wheel popped off.
Well, I mean, I've done it. I switched over to a DD wheel, and it comes off.
Well, as we thank everybody for tuning in, we're going to step aside here under caution number 6 here tonight. You're watching Goat Locker Racing and the Glove Series ARCA, the Glove Station ARCA Series live on Sim Racing Media. I'm Dave Riegel. He's Jordan Brockell, and we'll be right back.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force it off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom.
Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Welcome back to Phoenix Raceway. Eddie Smith, your race leader, as the green flag comes. Never mind, just kidding. This is the second time this has happened tonight, Jordan.
I was just about to say it as you were going. Second time we left under caution, came back, and we're still under caution, but for a different reason.
Let's see what brought this one up, because maybe I need to just stop going to commercial. Maybe that's what it is. So take a look here at Josh Lalkovitz. Whoa! That was an overcorrection if I ever saw one, and then he hits everything but the pace car coming down. My God. That's a rough way to be for Josh here in the 79. What a pleasure it is to be sitting here in the broadcast booth with you tonight, Jordan, as we're here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. We want to thank all of our sponsors here who make this possible. Of course, we want to thank McConey Setup Shop and Entertainment, the official setup shop of eNASCAR and sponsor of the McConey Setup Shop C-Fix series on iRacing. They're the premier name in iRacing setup services and trusted by virtual and real-world professionals to get the job done. They're proud and continue to help thousands of iRacers hit the track with confidence. Run at the front with our setups and learn from our setup guides and coaching options. Look good in victory lane with their paint schemes and bring your league and special events to life with their broadcasting, or trust their professionals for anything iRacing related to tackle. At McConey Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories. And of course, they build the setups for Sunday night trucks and the Cup Series, which is always great. And we had a great race last night. I was so excited as we got moving last night. All things finally came together, so to speak, and I just cannot be more thankful for the folks that got us on board here. Of course, we also want to tip our cap to iRacing, because without it we wouldn't be here, for quite literally. They're the world's premier motorsports racing game, and iRacing membership provides entry into the newest form of motorsport, internet racing. Internet racing is fun, easy, and an inexpensive way for race fans and gamers alike to enjoy the thrill of the racetrack from the comfort of their home. They're partnered with NASCAR, of course, and GLR, and we are allowed to utilize their logos. They have a Powered by iRacing logo, of course, that we always check out in the watermark here in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. Eddie Smith here to the inside. He's going to have control of the field as the pace car dips off.
And every time it dips off like that, I'm just like, all right, we're going now. Okay, now. Maybe now. But then we got to run that whole stretch there and get all the way back to this turn before they fire off. And when they do, Eddie Smith's going to have control here. Jonah Colbert right behind him with Andy Kurtz to his outside. He's going to fire off, and he's more than likely going to make that hard turn onto the dogleg as soon as they pass that start-finish line, diving way down 4, 5, 6, 12, 13 cars down there. Jonah Colbert following in suit. Eddie Smith running kind of a high line there. And Eddie Smith had this same kind of thing where he got out to the front, at Miami, and the 3 gets in there a little deep. The 3 of Michael McCarthy gets in there a little deep, kind of slides through a portion of that corner there. Lucky to not run over Andy Kurtz as he goes into that corner, but Eddie Smith here riding a higher line than we've seen most people here tonight.
Yeah, and he's making it work here too. And I've said it before, I love this Pontiac paint scheme back in the red days. As he rolls it here out of turn 4 and crossing the start-finish line, Eddie Smith seems like he has found another gear and is just pulling away from everybody as he just laid fast time down at 27.2 seconds that lap. 24 laps to go here at Phoenix Raceway. And everybody's starting to go single file, at least through, I would say, these first 9 or so cars. And Devin Smith, who's currently your highest running AM driver, he's the hungry one. He's the one you've got to watch tonight. Right now, he leads all those AM drivers, so he's looking at getting credit for that win.
Absolutely. And, to your point about that Pontiac up front, what I love about this body style of car is you have a mixture of the people running the old school Monte Carlo, you got the Pontiac, and then you also have a couple of these guys running that new style Mustang front nose and tail lights. That's what I loved about it, is you could run anything on cars, and it just made sense for some reason. It didn't. You're like, yeah, that's a Monte Carlo, even though the body didn't whatsoever. But these guys, like you said, getting single file for the most part here, and that's going to just kind of play into Eddie Smith's his joy a little bit as these guys get single file and not really trying to make any moves, and kind of letting him ride this thing out right now.
Back in the day when these were the current Cup car, everybody was, oh man, that Stratus looked great. I can still see the shape of the Dodge Stratus looking at the front of the Monte Carlo.
Yeah, 110%. But like it's just, I don't know, these are stock cars to me. And I know like there's going to be guys that say non-stock car is the 87s, the Monte Carlo and the LeSabre and all that. But for me, like when I think NASCAR, like I this is what I think of, and I think that's why I like late model stock car racing so much. Is mind you,
Whoa.
the rear shelves are different, but these are those are the closest to these cars there are.
Without a doubt, not to cut you off, but Cliff Adams here, cutting his way through traffic here as he gets just behind the 44 of John Huchel in the Mountain Dew machine. And just to put a little punctuation on that, I do love me the throwback Mountain Dew logo.
Yes, sir.
I'll tell you what, the one thing I will say, though, is I did not like the Mountain Dew throwback beverage that they made. That was gross. The 98 of Chris Adams looks to the inside now. The 75 of Chuck Pegleg Feltz, as Feltz is going to have to cede away 21st position. I know that it seems like, that's pretty far back, but look at this formation here. I'm starting to wonder if when these guys were active duty, if they were perhaps Air Force. Good Lord. As everybody falls back into line, Michael McCarthy, meanwhile, is under assault from Daniel Cunningham as he's pestering him here on lap number 83 with 17 laps to go. As they cross the line now, the 91 swings to the outside. He's trying everything to get around McCarthy right now. And unlike the other Mike McCarthy, this one's not giving up. Can you tell that I'm a little sour yet with that particular problem?
I mean, I'm happy that he's not there because, he was doing some decent stuff there for him. So to get him out, that's a certainly good thing for me and my opinion.
I just can't wait for this all to be over. I just want football season to be over. There, I said the thing out loud.
Go Birds.
I have to say it very quietly because I could get punched in my own home.
And go Birds.
Jake Ellingson running P2 right now, holding off Andy Kurtz as a three-way battle for second has broken out. Let's take a look here from Jonah Colbert's perspective as we peer right out of the windshield. As we ride on here with, my God.
You could just see these guys slide. Oh, speaking of sliding. 27. This is dangerous. All done. Jonah Colbert, Chris Morris.
Oh,
two of the top guys. Still going.
Oh, someone's not. I don't want to say this out. I don't know. Let's go back here to the replay because I don't know how the 31 was still spinning. Let's take a look. We were on board with the 31. Now the 48 and the 27 make contact with one another. The 31, is spun away. Now he gets himself stopped. And he, wow! Whoa! Hold up. Hold all the way up, folks. I mean, I can't tell who that was. That's the 86. Let's just see what might have been going on with Timothy Wilmus. I guess he wanted to end his night in glorious fashion. Here we are on board with Wilmus. Nope, it's not Wilmus. All right, so while the wreck is going on, We're just going to run this all the way back because Wilmus was back here minding his own business. And I don't know what...
He just didn't expect a 31 to be up there.
I guess not.
That dog leg, I mean, I guess just the other cars there and everything like that. I mean, things come at you quick here in just about any track. So, you know, you're coming around that corner expecting everything to kind of be washed down, and he's just sitting there. And then, unfortunately, that sends him across the track right into the path of Mark Cofield, who was scot-free for the time being.
Once race control gets done making their call here, I think we may hear from our race controller this evening, as I have some questions.
Questions.
I have questions. And we'll see if Jesse Whittington is over here in the booth. See if we can find him. Unfortunately, he may not be available. Jesse Whittington, if you're out there, feel free to swing on by the broadcast booth, pop on in. I'm curious if Wilmus gets any kind of penalty because he didn't cause the wreck, but he certainly didn't help the 31.
Yeah, I'm not 110% sure. That 110% for sure. Wow, English is hard. But don't look now. You know,
it's your primary language,
right? Don't look now. We were just talking about an AM driver sneaking in a win, and right now, at the start of that at least, we had three, maybe four right off the bat, and Calvert riding out front, but he's going to have a mirror of Eddie Smith here momentarily, as well as there is a mirror full of carnage behind him. Holy cow! It's a big one at Phoenix, which normally that's not a thing you say.
I didn't realize that they had a used car dealership here at Phoenix.
Oh, Dios mío!
Go figure, you can rattle off Spanish at the drop of a hat.
Yes. You didn't hear me say, yo tengo preguntas.
Let's see what happens. Wow, the 99 could not have, that almost looked like synchronized swimming.
And it just, like you said, it's a parking lot, used car dealership. And it looked like Casey Jones, I believe, or maybe it was Jonah Colbert. Yeah, Jonah Colbert just says, back-to-back wrecks and done. Maybe it was Casey Jones.
Here they come.
See right here. Now, Casey Jones squeaks by. It's Jonah Colbert. See him. He's good, and all of a sudden he just goes to get on the brakes, and there's suddenly just another car right there in front of him.
Nobody seems to be happy here.
No, not even in the slightest. And, I mean, that 44 machine was airborne. The 24 machine, he was certainly airborne. He had been our lead AM driver for the entirety of the I can't say entirety, but a majority of tonight. That's just a little heartbreaking there for him.
Well, what's going to make this interesting is that David Calvert here in the 16, he's leading the way. Eddie Smith, Brett Bieber, Andy Kurtz, Casey Jones. It's not until you get back here to Matt Knights. And Knights and Jeremiah Holt are the next two AM drivers. We might have a natural AM winner.
I wouldn't put the jinx on him yet, because, I mean, he's got to deal with both Eddie Smith and Brett Bieber. And Brett Bieber has been fast tonight and has found his way 21 spots up. I know Calvert's up 26 positions, but I mean it's gonna be a handful. I mean, if you're gonna be the AM driver to pull this off, you're gonna have to go one of the best groups of guys here this season so far, especially with Eddie Smith. And Eddie Smith still looking as if maybe he just let a win slip away at Miami, so he's going to have a tough time here. But if anyone can do it, it's going to be him.
Would you say the driver of the 808 is an eager Bieber? See what I did there?
Oh, Lord. I don't know how to say beaver in Spanish.
Bieber.
Or eager.
I'll
That
work
makes
on
me
it
sad.
later. Here they come out of turn 4. Get back to the cactus cam and off we go.
Oh, Calvert. And like I said, Brett Bieber. Prior to contrary belief,
Brett Bieber out of Ole, PA, representing the Route 73 corridor, takes over the lead in front of Andy Kurtz. Can you tell I'm familiar with the neighborhood? As Andy Kurtz now runs P2 here out of Quakertown, PA.
oh, Eddie Smith with a big slide.
All of a sudden, we got the Pennsylvania contingent leading the way as we're going to represent I-476 and PA-73 here up atop the pile with 4 laps to go. Hey, Jordan, don't look now, but the sun is setting on this race.
That certainly is, but I couldn't tell you if Brett Bieber's going to come across the winner or not because these guys are sliding all over the track, and it could be just about anybody's race right now.
It is a drag race with 3 to go now, folks. I know that, many of you want to see what's going on with Devin Smith. He's in a hornet's nest, but we've got a side-by-side battle for the lead here with 3 laps to go coming down the back chute. Brett Bieber with an edge taking the high side, but the 48 of Andy Kurtz slides underneath as he cuts the nose off the 808. They cross the start-finish line. The popsicle sticks go in the air. We're 2 laps to go.
Oh, and these guys are, Eddie Kurtz, wow. Eddie Smith is sitting here watching these guys. He's trying to find a way to, get back up to these guys, or maybe even see if these guys get into each other. But Andy Kurtz going to come around and grab the white flag for 1 lap to go here from Phoenix. And
Brett
Bieber gets spun.
The white flag's in the air. We're racing back to checkers. Brett Bieber falling through the standings. Andy Kurtz takes over the lead. He's got it from 476 all the way down here to Phoenix, Arizona. Andy Kurtz watches Eddie Smith dump Brett Bieber on the final lap. We've got 1 to go. The white flag is in the air. Andy Kurtz rolling out of turn 4 through the Geico restart zone. He sees the cactus. He sees the checkered flag. And Andy Kurtz picks up the win here at Phoenix.
Absolutely phenomenal finish here. Oh, I need blood pressure medication from that, because oh my Lord.
I'm gonna smoke and cuddle you in the dark after this.
I feel like I just went through a full-on exercise with the excitement that just happened there.
Oh my goodness.
Andy Kurtz gonna be your winner and certainly gonna burn that thing down. He was gonna be under fire for his life. Brett Bieber, Eddie Smith grabbing the left rear quarter panel of Bieber, and that was all she wrote.
You know what? I'm almost afraid here as we're watching Kurtz. Let's take a look and see what did just happen as Brett Bieber was tagged. Before we interview our podium finishers, let's see what look, the 87 just simply moved him.
Oh, and then he gets nailed by the 64 machine to add insult to the injury.
Again, this becomes a rules question. Is there some type of rule that because the caution didn't technically come out, does the 87 get penalized for that?
Oh, it's going to be something that we'll have to see race control.
Let's put it this way. I just hope that they were friends before and they can work this out like grown adults.
Absolutely.
And David Calvert picks up his second AM win of the week. So we're going to get a chance to talk to Andy Kurtz, Eddie Smith, Casey Jones, and David Calvert tonight as we're waiting for Andy Kurtz to hop on in here to the broadcast waiting room. Jordan, I don't think look, I didn't have this on my bingo card tonight. I thought we were going to watch Andy Kurtz and Brett Bieber go at it like cats and dogs come, here on the last lap. I didn't have, Brett Bieber getting dumped like a prom date by Eddie Smith.
Also, I mean, you missed
lap.
out on both. You missed out on that and Dreidel both on your bingo cards.
Yeah. Folks,
normally it's just
let's
one
play
thing.
NASCAR broadcast bingo with Dave and Jordan. There's a smoking section. Follow the old ladies with the oxygen tanks. It'll be fine.
Please make sure you have bingo before you yell it, because it makes the old ladies angry.
Oh my goodness, you have no idea. I mean, obviously you do if you're mentioning it, but when I was a kid growing up at the firehouse, we had bingo Saturday night from the ladies
all
auxiliary,
the time.
and just waiting for our waiting for our podium finishers to hop on into the waiting room. I'm scanning through the other chats here, and I don't see our podium finishers.
Some minds needing to take a little bit of a breath here, from what I'm seeing.
Rusty Rafferty giving the end of that, or giving this race a 10 out of 10. You know what? I mean, look, it's wild when you've got me bouncing in the seat, and I mean, I'm a big fella to bounce around this seat. As I see Casey Jones, I'll tell you what, Jordan, why don't you have a chat here with Casey Jones a while? And, of course, as soon as you get Casey Jones, we see the other guys fill in. So, Jordan, I think you've got Casey on pit road.
Casey Jones, it's Jordan up in the booth. You got a copy?
What's that, sir? I didn't catch that.
Just seeing if you got a copy, brother.
Yes, sir.
Well, you're sitting there riding, coming to the finish here, and I mean, you're sitting in a solid position there, and not really thinking you're going to be talking to us, and then you see the 808 goes sideways, and you find your way through into third place.
Oh my gosh, man! I lost my mind. I can't believe I started 8th, won in turn 1, first lap, and oh my gosh, I can't believe it. This is awesome. Man, I'm just through the roof.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you go from the lowest point to the high, one of the highest points here, and you pull off a third place, and after a start like that, and to come back and be at the podium, I mean, that's only got to be for how that race started.
I know, don't call that a comeback. I mean, that was one of the best races I've ever run. I'm through the roof, man. I just want to thank iRacing, Above the Yellow Line, Sim Motion. I just want to thank my family so much for doing so much for me, keeping me calm even though I wrecked. I want to thank my dad, my mom, my dad, my sister, Harrison, Mr. Handy, for all just listening to me and keep on supporting me. Oh my gosh, man, this is awesome.
Well, I certainly can feel the excitement from you on that, and congrats on the third place. And maybe this could turn the tide. Just start talking to you a little bit more up here, brother.
Oh yes, sir. I'm expecting a lot of stuff, especially whenever we get to Texas for that championship race. You better believe that I'll be up here.
We're looking forward to it, and the rest of this season, all is one, brother. And once again, congratulations. Maybe we'll be catching you on a few here soon.
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'm sure we'll get a chance to see Casey Jones later on in this evening. Let's see if we can get a hold of Eddie Smith. We're going to go 3-2-1 tonight. Eddie Smith, Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, listen, you're what's up, man. Right now you're coming home second position. It looked like you were going to finish in third. Then some interesting things happened. Take us through that last segment of the race here, and what did it look like through your windshield?
Yeah, well, those guys I think were out of tires, and so I was trying to just navigate through that. I felt like I was pretty fast. Felt like I had a race-winning car, and just trying to navigate through those guys that stayed out there, and got through all the way up to second. And Calvert, he's racing for his win too, and we just drove down the corner and he cooked it. And I was trying to get to his outside because Bieber was down there, and I knew if I didn't get to the outside, he might clear me, and it's tough to get back by somebody. So yeah, just unfortunate that happened. Calvert really didn't do anything wrong. I was just trying to be aggressive there and get that spot. So just a bummer, and I just really hate that I spun Brett Bieber. I don't know what to say other than trying to get up under him, and he bounced it up off the apron. He was going to go high, and I thought he was going to go all the way out, so I thought maybe I could sneak up under him, and just pushed it a little bit too hard, and he was trying to cover that inside move, and I just got into the back of him. So yeah, I can't feel any worse. I've had a pretty tough week of just making silly mistakes, and yeah, it sucks. So
hey, things happen out here on the racetrack, and I mean, the important thing is that you do the right thing, and of course, make sure to give them a tip of the cap, especially because a lot of the things that we see on the racetrack here, if I was in race control, I'd be calling a lot of racing incidents, and I think although that it was kind of the wrong place at the wrong time and you had those better tires, one thing that I've noticed about this league, especially here in the ARCA series, because of that split between the Pro and the Am, I think that what happens out here is genuinely an accident. I've never seen anybody strap a chrome horn onto the front of their race car, and I don't think any of you guys here in tonight's 29, 30 drivers have that kind of attitude. So congrats to you, man, for finishing P2 and of course being a good sport about what happened here on the last lap. But before we cut you loose, who do you need to tip your cap to, and who gets a shout out for helping you get it done on the 87 machine?
Yeah, Jam Printing and Promotions, of course, Glove Station for coming on board this season. It's been really awesome to have them. Thank y'all for broadcasting, coming on and broadcasting for us, and Alexander PCs. And thank Pat and Jamie for putting on Goat Locker.
Hey, we appreciate it, man. And listen, Eddie, we'll see you next week as we get ready to turn the page. Congrats on the P2 finish.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
That, of course, the voice of Eddie Smith, who was involved in that final incident here on the last lap. But victor of the last lap and the race is Andy Kurtz. And I believe, Jordan, you've got him right now.
Andy Kurtz, Jordan up in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, man. So, I mean, they're coming to, just the down the backstretch going towards the white flag there. You've got your hands full. You got Bieber breathing down your neck, Eddie Smith right there waiting to pounce on the two of you as well, and all of a sudden you're clear by a mile and just cruising. Take me through that, brother.
Yeah, a little bit of a chaotic ending there. Just got lucky with how it played out. So got the lead a little bit of the race in the middle, but I don't think definitely wasn't the best car, especially on a long run. But yeah, just got lucky with where I got to restart that last caution with a couple guys ahead of us, and I guess Eddie kind of got hung up there and was able to get around him, so knew it'd be a lot easier winning with Eddie having that issue there. So it's a fun race though.
Yeah, and you talk about not really having the best car and everything, and we kind of noticed tonight there was a lot of just some guys getting loose and getting tagged while sliding and everything like that, and I mean, just kind of go over how exhausting a car like this could kind of be.
Yeah, it's a really cool car and track combo. I really enjoy driving this place. I think the turns couldn't be more different from each other, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. You could drive the track pretty hard without burning your tires up too bad, I think, at least, and run some different lines. So yeah, it was fun. It was loose on cold tires, which was tough. I definitely had a couple moments. Want to apologize to Jake for getting into him. He got a little loose in front of me, and I just clipped his right rear and helped him finish it off. So feel bad about that, and Jonah getting caught up in it. But it was really fun racing with them, racing with Jonah and Eddie there in the middle of the race. I think we were through wide for quite a bit. Good couple laps, which is awesome. So yeah, had a fun time.
Yeah, and I certainly chalk a lot, like Dave said in the last interview, just chalk it up to a lot of racing incidents with how things went. These things are a handful, and the slipping and sliding that everybody had seemed to be doing tonight, it certainly didn't help. But I know you got some people to thank for your performance here tonight.
Yeah, man. Yeah, appreciate you guys putting on a good show for us, and everyone at Goat Locker for putting on another great season. I love this car and season, and it's awesome to see how many how many more guys race with us every week. So it's been great race with them so far. Looking forward to a good season. I want to thank Lincoln Tech, Save 22, Hidden Whip Brewery, Cruising Classics, Nasty's Restaurant and Bar, Club Station, Operation Valor, Invents, Jam Printing and Promotions, McConey Setup Shop, V-Speed, Sim Racing Media, Indiana Department of Veterans Affairs, Alexander PC, Sim Motion, Next Level Racing, iRacing, and Above the Yellow Line for helping us put this on.
Well, we certainly want to thank you for your time, and maybe on this schedule that we'll be talking to you too.
Yeah, I hope so.
All right, thank you, and have a good night.
Thanks, man. You too.
That the voice of Andy Kurtz, and last but certainly not least, David Calvert, who had a little bit of a cheer session, cheer section that is, in our YouTube.com live chat, brings home the AM checkered flag tonight. He may have finished 5th overall, but he finishes first of the AM drivers. David Calvert out of Clover, South Carolina. It's Dave up in the booth. You got me.
Hey guys, how are y'all?
Good, man. Listen, I mean, you had your cheering section in the YouTube.com live chat. It's always nice when our kids are paying attention to us. That's the next generation of iRacing. But let's talk tonight and what you had to do. I mean, listen, you started 27th. You crawled through, all I can think of is like Andy Dufresne in Shawshank Redemption. You were crawling through just up to your neck in fecal matter, working your way through the field. And I mean, these guys around you were certainly not fecal matter. They were absolutely great competitors, but you were just crawling through some nasty sludge getting here.
Yeah, it was, I felt like I kind of made my way up, and then I got caught up in that wreck. And then I had to use like my fast repair, and I was fresh out of tires at that point. So, kind of the caution fell at the right time, and I was able to, all of a sudden I'm up at the front. I was a little surprised by that, but I took it. I felt like the tires were able to, once they cooled a little bit, and I was at least able to run and not just get completely ran over. So I wasn't necessarily anticipating a win, but hey, fifth was pretty solid there.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's really incredible, and it speaks to your prowess as a driver. It speaks to a lot of the guys that were around you too. I mean, the way that you had to get through each one. I mean, we were watching you sort of pick your way through there, and it was. I always say it's the quiet drivers. We're not watching you drive through traffic, but you're working your way through it, and that's what's going to get you moved from the AM list over to the pro list. That's the kind of driving and skill that's going to get you that promotion down the road. And I mean, this is now what, 2 weeks in a row, 3 wins overall in the season that you get the AM win. I mean, what does that mean? As now we obviously. Playoff ticket punched, no problem, unless somebody comes out here and just runs an absolute school and your computer crashes.
I mean, you can never predict what the future might hold, but I mean, I do. The more seat time I feel like I can get, I definitely try to pick up, and I get behind a lot of these pro drivers. I love this idea of the amateur and the pro class because it does give you something to go for.
Oh yeah.
And I get behind them, and I can just. It's weird because you don't even realize you're doing it, but you're absorbing so much information from them. And I mean, I absolutely love doing it. So the more I can sit behind it, I feel like I just little small details just to get a little bit quicker and a little bit more consistent.
Yeah, I agree with you 1,000%. I mean, I me personally, when they explained how this league worked to us over here at Sim Racing Media, and they said, we've got the pro and the AM. The first thing I thought was, great, I'm going to have to figure out color codes for the timing tower. The next thing I thought was, wow, that's a really great idea to have them on the same track, because you're not going to get better if you're around, similarly skilled folks. You've got to get better by going after folks that, are a step ahead of you. And, you're definitely showing that off as you get that top 5 overall finish and, of course, that top AM finish tonight. And before we cut you loose, who do you need to thank and who helped you get it done on the 16 tonight?
Well, I mean, I want to thank everybody that puts all this stuff together. You know, Lincoln Tech, Save 22, Hidden Wit, Glove Station, Sim Racing Media. You guys do, good job. That stuff's not easy to do. McConey shop setup, iRacing above the yellow line. I also want to thank my son. I think he might be my biggest fan because he's the only one that cheers for me. He actually yelled at me last time I got interviewed, and I didn't say nothing about him.
Hey, listen, everybody's got to shout out their son. Believe me, when mine checks in on the YouTube.com live chat with a hi dad, I got to give him his shout out too.
Absolutely, but yeah, it's great what everybody does here. Goat Locker Racing and iRacing, and it's just a lot of work, and I'm pretty blessed that everybody puts this much effort into it to make it as cool as it is.
Cool is definitely an understatement for sure, my friend. Well, listen, congrats again. Take this checkered flag on home to Clover, South Carolina, and we'll see you next week.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good night.
You do the same. That the voice of David Calvert, 2 weeks back-to-back as the AM driver winner, and, of course, 3 overall. He's having himself just an incredible season. And, I don't know what's causing it for me to think this way, but I just think it's such a great concept to have the Pro-Am, set up here.
Yeah, it's different from every league that I've been a, and it's a ton of fun.
Yeah, ton of fun is definitely an understatement. Before we get out of here, let's take one final look as that just all disappeared. My goodness, that was almost very bad. I almost covered up the wrong screen here. Let's take one final look at our results from here at Phoenix Raceway as we get one graphic out of the way. Let's make way. Love that for us. Andy Kurtz brings home the checkered flag. He's followed on the podium by Eddie Smith and Casey Jones, and of course David Calvert, our AM driver, rounds out the top 5 with Jake Ellingson between he and the podium, so not too far off for David Calvert. Jeremiah Holt and Mark Cofield finished 6th and 7th, while Devin Smith, Michael McCarthy, and Alan Smith round out your top 10. Jamie Libke fought all night long and was only able to gain 1 spot, finishes in 11th position, while up 10 was Ricky Sisk Jr. after starting in 22nd, finishes... Excuse me, folks. I'm trying to get this thing to stop moving here. In 12th position. Timothy Wilness and Josh Unger finished 13th and 14th, while Daniel Cunningham, Josh Lokovitz, and Matt Knights come home all the way back here in 17th position. Brett Bieber, who got just hammered on the final lap in an accident, finishes 18th position, while Andrew Carnes, John Hoochin, Brandon Wallace, Chris Morris Jr., Doug Ellingson, Chuck Pegleg Feltz, and Jonah Colbert make up your top 25. Cliff Adams, Chris Sawyer, Brian Frauheiger, and Sean Pope McCarthy make up the 29 drivers that took the green flag tonight. Unfortunately, somebody had to finish last, and tonight it was Sean Pope McCarthy, and we of course feel for him on that one, but hopefully not next week. And as we get ready to go deeper into the season, man, I'm telling you, Jordan, this just does not get. To me, it seems like we think to ourselves, wow, it can't get more exciting, and then they crank it up a notch, and then they crank it up another notch. These guys here in the Glove Station ARCA series keep finding ways to bring excitement to our lives. And next week we go to Richmond. We go down there to another 1 mile track here in these ARCA cars. I'm expecting a lot more of the same.
Oh, 110%. I mean, I'd even say 1,000%. And I think we're going to see a little bit more aggression. Some of these guys are going to be bumping a little more aggressively there because, it runs like a really short track. It doesn't feel as large of a track as it is, and it's got really hard braking points and everything like that. And you really got to kind of dive into those corners. So I think we're going to see some bumping and shoving. And it's going to be probably one of our most aggressive races of the entire season.
Absolutely. Well, listen, folks, for myself, Dave Regal, and my broadcast partner extraordinaire, we want to thank you for tuning in and making us a part of your evening here on Sim Racing Media. And we want to thank all of you for tuning in and welcoming us into your homes, onto your phones, wherever you may be and however you may be listening. And tomorrow and every day, as you walk down the road of life, please don't play in traffic. Good night, everyone.